In here, first pitch on WagerTalk TV. 7 games on the MLB slate that we're checking out today. And I'll be honest with you, we're going to talk damn near every one of them right here. The guys do have some best bets and heavy leans. The games that they are tabbed on, those ones are Twins, Rangers, and the Mariners and Tigers. Best bets coming in Giants, Braves, and the Phillies versus the Nats. Who's giving you these plays? Well, 2 of the best in the biz. That's right. Got Tokyo Brandon and Adam Trigger joining me here today. Gentlemen, happy to have you guys here. I know it's a short slate, but that only means we get to kick around some of these games a little bit more. TB, looking styling as always, man. The only reason that Prez hates on the look is because no one can pull it off like you can, TB. And also, aren't many people who can handicap baseball like Tokyo Brandon can either. So let's get started with it, brother. And let's take a look at the Twins and the Rangers. I look at this game, and on paper, although games aren't played on paper, this has all the makings of a pitcher's duel, right? I mean, 2 hot guys on the bump with Ober and Bradford. Do you agree with that assessment, or do you think maybe recent form doesn't quite speak to how these players are going to be playing here today? What do you think, Twins, Rangers?
Yeah, at first, how's it going? At first look, yeah, you would think pitcher's duel, but actually, this is one of those games where my numbers are screaming one direction, but I just can't make myself bet it. It's one of those kind of things. So Corey Bradford and Bailey Ober. I got Corey Bradford, as I've said before in other shows. I rank pitchers on a curve of 30. And so I can compare them to the bullpens and the hitters evenly, apples to apples. And I got Corey Bradford on a curve of 30, ranked 15, right in the middle. So he's pretty mediocre, but his numbers are pretty good. I really like Corey Bradford until I put him in my database, check the numbers, and now I don't like him as much because Bailey Ober's ranked 7. So and the Twins have their bullpen ranked 9, where I have Texas bullpen ranked 29 out of 30. So Texas bullpen's really been struggling, and they're in terrible form. And then batting, Texas is ranked 21, where the Twins are ranked 8. So my numbers are screaming to bet Minnesota in this one. But personally, like the eyeball test, I really like Corey Bradford. So it's hard for me to bet the Twins. I haven't put this out, but maybe after the show, I'll go back and I'll put this out for the Twins because my numbers are screaming to bet the Twins here. And regarding pitcher's duel or over-unders, I can't do an under when I have one of the bullpens ranked 29 out of 30. So if anything, I would maybe take the Twins team total over if I'm going to go an over-under. But I'm really itching to bet the Twins on the money line. I Adam, if you could give me your opinion on this, maybe it'll push me over the line. But yeah, that's my assessment of this game. I haven't put a play on it yet, but my numbers are screaming Twins, but my eyeballs really like Corey Bradford.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Trig? Jump in. Twins all day. I've been on this show multiple times already this week, talking about the Twins. I think they're going to win the AL Central. I think they are far better than the market gives them credit for right now, based on the fact that they're getting healthy. Miranda back, Buxton back, Royce Lewis all back in the mix in some capacity. TB, so I'm kind of in the same boat. I haven't bet this yet, but I want to.
Hard.
I couldn't be more all in on the Twins. I will. Let's put it this way. I will likely find my way into this series at some point with a bet on the Twins. I just don't know if it's going to be tonight, but I would not talk you off of it if that's what you wanted to do. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I don't know what's keeping me off it. Like the Rangers are 31-27 at home, but the Twins are 31-29 on the road. So they're not a bad road team either. I don't know what inside me is not letting me make this play. I
think it's probably for me it's what I thought the Rangers would eventually be this year. And sometimes
World
you've
Series
got to,
yeah.
Sometimes it's August 15th, right? It's August 15th. At some point, you got to just say, like, maybe this is what the Rangers are. And that's why I've had a hard time betting against them, because, they come off of winning the World Series. I actually was probably one of the few that, like, thought, hey, like, they were probably a year early. Like, this might actually be their year as well. And I thought that they might be big time in the mix. I thought they would win the AL West this year, like prior to the season starting. And so I'm in between, like, do I accept that fate right now, or do they still have like one more push in them? I can't really decide. That's why I haven't, been able to bet the Twins yet in this game.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is for me too. So Dan, go ahead. Sorry to take over the show.
I was just sitting back and taking notes. I was like, man, these guys are making my job easy here today. No, I love the breakdown. The comments are a little bit split. There's some people, we got Tyler in there. He's saying Twinkies. That's what we love to hear. Twins all day. RU Zen saying it's the Rangers, fella, and RU Zen also saying probably gas Tokyo Brandon. So maybe we'll see how this one shakes out. But for you, Trig, we talked obviously that late game or latest game on the board. Comments get at me every time. They're like, damn, we want to hear the early games right here at the top. So let's go to one of the 110 starts. So that's for you in the comments. Don't worry. I read them. I listen. Seattle Mariners, Detroit Tigers. Man, rough one last night for the Mariners. Now Bryce Miller is going to be tabbed with trying to slow down this Detroit Tigers side. It's against Fado. I knew it was you, Fado. Are we fading, Fado? How are you looking to bet this one?
Well, real quick, I just looked at the probables for tomorrow, and with Simeon Woods Richardson on the mound for the Twins, I'll probably play the Twins tomorrow if everything sets up nicely and if their bullpen guys are still there. But we're going to move on. Mariners Tigers. The Mariners are going to play the Mariners are going to play their way out of the playoffs this year again. Like it's been sort of their MO over the last 2 decades. It's going to probably happen again this year. Reason being, this team can't hit. And of course, over the last 2 weeks, when they've had sort of like ample opportunities to like win games, remain in the lead in a very weak AL West. We just talked about the Rangers not really taking over. The Astros have now taken over the lead, despite not really being like the Astros teams that we're used to the last couple of years. But what have the Mariners done? They've lost 4 or 5 in the last 11 days to this Tigers team. And you know how many runs they've scored in those games, Dan? 11 total runs in those 5 games. And back-to-back losses to start a 9-game road trip. You can't convince me that the Mariners aren't going to play their way out, and they'll probably do it over the next couple weeks. And then to add insult to injury, you've got Julio Rodriguez leaves the game with an ankle injury yesterday. And now I just want to make very clear, I'm talking big picture. Justin Turner, Victor Robles, Randy Arozarena. I didn't think these guys were ever it for them. Those are the moves that they made. They're now 2.5 games back to the Astros. There is zero chance, Dan, zero chance the Mariners win the AL West. If one of your buddies comes to you and they're like, hey, what do you think about the Mariners to win the AL West? You say, hey, I think that's a great bet. And then you book it. And then you just take the money because that's the easiest money you'll have all year. There's zero chance the Mariners are going to piggyback the Astros in this division. I'll tell you that right now. However, they're probably going to win today. And I'm going to make a case for them today because their best pitcher right now is Bryce Miller. He's on the mound today. In his last 5 starts, he's 3 of them have been shutouts. He has last time out against the Mets, 6 scoreless innings and a win. Last year against the Tigers, 12 innings pitched, 0 runs allowed. He's the one guy that I'm sort of willing to back on the Mariners right now, knowing that if I don't get a ton of offense, I'm still probably good because he's been that good. Now, you reference Fado as the starter for the Tigers, and I think that's creating a little bit of hidden value here because I think the guy throwing the majority of the innings in this game for Detroit is going to be Kenta Maeda, who I have, you could consult Tokyo Brandon's ratings, but I bet he's near the bottom of TV's pitcher ratings. I think he's one of the worst pitchers in the American League, starting pitchers, and now they're sort of hiding him behind an opener. They've been doing this for a couple weeks now. ERA is still in the mid-4s, still not good. If there's one guy that the Mariners might be able to hit, it's probably him. So I don't know if I can stomach like minus 130 on the road with the Mariners. It has not made my client card yet, but that's the only way I could play this game. I do think that they'll salvage one and get out of Detroit, at least avoiding the sweep. but I'm not overall high on this Mariners team, but I think they get it done today.
Tyler saying that Trigg has a better fastball velocity than Maeda. So, Trigg, we'll get him out on the mound and see what he can toss. But that's some thoughts. Hop below in the comments and let us know what you're thinking. Again, short slate here. So if you're getting creative, you're betting some first fives, some Yerpies, Nerpies, player props, hop below and let us know. But we'll touch upon all 7 games on the slate. Best bets coming up in Giants, Bravos, and the Phillies and the Nats. But next, let's talk this A's and Mets game. And TB, I'll go to you first for this one. It looks like Spence and Quintana are going to be what we're eyeing here. Now, again, the A's have secretly or quietly, I guess we could say, been a little bit sneaky with being able to push some upsets in. But even so, the Mets, they're looking for a potential series win here today. You think they end up getting it? How are you looking to bet this one? And I think this is the other early game. Yeah, 110 this one's going to be starting. How are you looking to bet this one?
All these years, you never asked me to your house for a cup of coffee. That's my Godfather.
That was pretty good.
Actually,
that wasn't
very
bad.
good timing though, because I was actually watching Godfather 1 and Godfather 2 just yesterday because Godfather 2 is the best movie.
Right? I mean, Godfather 1's amazing, but Godfather 2 is elite, right?
They're both amazing, actually. Godfather 3 don't even bother watching, but
yeah, you can throw that in the trash. Yeah,
1 and 2 are definitely two of the best movies ever made. Absolutely. Marlon Brando, actually one of my favorite actors, and you would be surprised, but I really like the movie Guys and Dolls. It's a great movie. So Marlon Brando is awesome in that movie with Frank Sinatra. Great movie. But anyway, it's a musical, so everything is sung, kind of like The Sound of Music. Anyway, on to baseball.
There you go.
I knew it was you, Fredo. So I love that. Fredo was turned absolutely white when he said that, by the way. But anyway, so we got the A's and the Mets here, and I got burned on the first game of this series because I took the Mets and they got crushed like 8-1. Yesterday, Mets came back and won. I think it was something like 8-1 or something like that. So they crushed the A's. This is a tough one because just looking at it, you say, "Oh, Mets all the way," but honestly, the A's, their bullpen is really performing well right now, which is why you really, I don't have an official play on this game, but I can tell you that I have the A's ranked quite a bit higher than the Mets, and I have Mitch Spence ranked quite a lot higher than Quintana. So, well, not a lot higher. They're both. I have Mitch Spence ranked 14 and I have Quintana ranked 16, but Quintana's given up, I think 8 or 10 runs in his last 2 starts, where Spence, if you look at his last 3 to 5 starts, it's very solid. So I like starting pitching for the A's and I like the bullpen for the A's in this one. But both lineups are struggling. I actually have the A's ranked a little higher than the Mets as far as lineup is concerned. So if I had to bet this game, I'd bet the A's, but I'm not going to. But I guess if anything to take from that convoluted breakdown, it would be probably want to stay away from the Mets in this one. That would be my ultimate take in this one. If anything, A's plus the 1.5, or with such a good bullpen like that, I rarely will bet against the team with a top 5 bullpen, and the A's definitely have a top 5 bullpen. So I would stay away from betting the Mets. If anything, the A's plus the 1.5.
Cliff Notes version, don't lay the minus 180 or so with the Mets from our man Tokyo Brandon. That's the summation that I got from the breakdown there from our man TB. You can check him out at wagertalk.com, wt.buzz/TB. You want to find Trig, it's wt.buzz/AT. And right now is a great time to buy. 4 days free is what you can get. 7 days of all access for the price of 3. It's a great deal that we have going on over at wagertalk.com. It's going to be expiring soon, so definitely want to run, don't walk, and grab that. And with preseason action going on, you also have Tokyo Brandon releasing Mexican baseball plays. So whatever you want plays in, you can get it. And there's no limit to how many you can buy. So you can get 3 days is what the price you're paying. You get 7 days of the all access. WT.buzz/deals for those details, but it's loaded at your favorite cappers page right now. Trig, I think we're both going to kick, or all three of us are going to kick this one around, because the 4-game series between the Dodgers and the Brewers has been pretty damn intriguing. It was, started off with the Dodgers just kind of rolling them, and then it was errors that made the difference for the win and the Brewers 5-4 victory. 3 errors turned into 4 unearned runs, and that ultimately the difference maker with a tight score like that. Game 4 here, Flaherty and Myers. How do you see this one shaking out? And we'll get Tokyo Brandon's thoughts as well, but we'll start off with you.
Yeah, first, Dan, real quick, I have zero opinion on that A's-Mets game, but I do want to point out that Brett Rooker went on the paternity list, and he's by far their best hitter against left-handed pitching. I just think you should know that if you're going to bet that game. I just think that's something you should know if you're going to bet that game, because that would scare me off the A's. Again, I have no opinion there, not trying to sway you either way. It's just a fact that he will not be in the lineup today, or probably for the next couple of days. So it's something good to note. Let's go back to Brewers Dodgers. This has been a great series. I'm actually kind of kicking myself for not putting out an MLB play yesterday, because if I did, it probably would have been the Brewers. I just couldn't get across the finish line with Montas. I haven't really, kind of been high on him this year, but of course the Brewers end up getting a win. The guy I would have wanted to bet on in this series is pitching today. It's Tobias Myers, and I was kind of, secretly hoping for a Dodgers win yesterday to give me a more favorable +1.5. I thought, with Flaherty on the mound and how good he's been of late and how good he's been since showing up in LA, and some numbers to quantify that: 3.09 ERA since he showed up in LA, 2.04 ERA in his last 10 starts. I thought I might get a playable +1.5 here, but it's a little bit expensive. +1.5 currently -145. Kind of prices me out there. But I certainly lean toward the Brewers in this game. And again, the way I would play this is to take the 1.5. I'd at least want the 1-run cushion. You can split it, run line, money line, but just a little bit more expensive than I would have wanted. Tobias Myers is someone that I've been super high on since the start of this season. I thought I was going to get a bunch of good spots to play him at AAA for Nashville this year, but the Brewers had so many starting pitching injuries early that he was up right away, and he kind of learned on the job. Little bit of a rough patch maybe in early May, got knocked around in a couple of his early starts. Since June 1st, the only pitcher in the entire league, only starting pitcher in the entire league with a lower ERA than Tobias Myers is Blake Snell. His ERA since then is 1.75. His last 11 starts. He's been awesome in last time out. Pitched into the 8th inning and shut out the Reds. So he's a guy I want to bet on. Like I said, I really wish I could have got the +1.5 at a cheaper price. I would have been all over it today. But since it's not, it's going to remain a lean, albeit a very strong one on Brewers +1.5.
TB, how about for you? You have any thoughts? You kind of agree? You see Tobias as maybe an underrated guy? See, for me, whenever I see the name Tobias as a Sixers fan, I'm triggered by Tobias Harris. So it makes me want to cross it off the card. But I hear what Trig's saying there. It makes sense. Do you agree, or do you see this game a little bit different?
Totally agree. I love Tobias Myers, and actually, I think Jack Flaherty is one of my favorite pitchers in MLB, but I've liked him since he pitched for the Orioles. But the book tends to catch on a couple starts late, and then they tend to overreact. So I think the book likes Jack Flaherty too much. I like him a lot too, but I have both of these pitchers as top 8 pitchers, and I have them ranked dead even. Tobias Myers has only had one bad start, and that was in Colorado. And me personally, what I consider a bad start is if you give up 4 earned runs. I think it's a bad start. He's only had one time where he gave up 4 earned runs. He's only given up 4 earned runs in his last 4 starts. lineups, these two teams are dead even in lineups too. So starting pitcher, dead even, lineups, dead even. I think the Dodgers do have a little bit of an advantage in the lineup. My numbers kind of factor in the last 14 days and last 7 days. And to be honest, the Dodgers have not had Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman for the last 14 days. So I think the Dodgers have a slight advantage with lineup. I give the Brewers a slight advantage with starting pitching, and the Brewers have the better bullpen. Anytime you have Joe Kelly in your bullpen, then automatically your bullpen sucks. So, but I have the Dodgers bullpen ranked 13 out of 30, and I have the Brewers ranked 4 out of 30. So Brewers are the better team, unfortunately, because I have a futures on Dodgers to win the NL West. And before the season started, that seemed like an auto winning ticket, but now it's not seeming that way. So I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I want the Dodgers to win, but if I had to bet my money, I would bet the Brewers here. And if you give me a run and a half, it's even better. If, like I said earlier with the A's, anytime you have a team with a top 5 bullpen and you can get runs with them, it's a good bet. That's not an official play, but I guess it's more like a warning to not bet the Dodgers in this game if you're running out and betting the favorites.
Tokyo Brandon, you'll be glad to know I see that your burner account is in the comments. Richard saying, I'm a big Tokyo Brandon stan, making money lately. Let's go. So we have located Tokyo Brandon's burner. His name is Richard. Shout out to From Within. From Within has just been throwing us dimes here, and he says, Dan, as a Knick fan, we support your Tobias hate, but in this case I'm not hating on Tobias Myers, so we will say that. That's for sure. TB, I appreciate you hopping in here and breaking things down to let folks know what you have over at your page, Tokyo Brandon, locked and loaded. Yep. With that special that folks can get. I mean, 4 days for free, 3-day all access is what you got to pay for. A great time to buy.
It is a great time to buy, and WagerTalk often does great specials. That's one good special that Dan mentioned earlier. I have a feature MLB play today in the Red Sox Orioles game, which you can grab. That's Bryan's page, not mine. So instead of BL, you can put TB there. That's Bryan Leonard. There we go. Bryan Leonard.
But Bryan is also a good guy, and the specials do work for Bryan, I will say. But yes, TB is your page.
Yeah. On a personal note, Bryan and I, we're heavy metal buddies. So every time I go to Vegas, we go to a heavy metal concert together. We're both like pretty into the hardcore heavy metal stuff like Slayer and stuff like that. So he's my bud. When I go to Vegas, we always go to a concert together. And he drives a really cool electric car, by the way. But anyways, I have an MLB play in MLB, obviously. Red Sox Orioles game. It's my feature play today, so you can grab that at that link there. Number 1 in Major League Baseball profit 2004. Number 1 all sports profit 3 of the last 4 years, including this year. I'm plus 166 units on the year. So it's going well. I do have a Mexican baseball play as well. Not for sale, but maybe we can talk about that later. So lots of stuff going on at my page. So just go to that TB page and you will find, I pretty much load a free play almost every day as well.
So Trig, you just heard him mention. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Trig?
Do I have 60 seconds for my Tobias Harris story? I know it's a little off topic, but
yes,
he came up on the show.
It's only 11:25. You got time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's only a couple games today. So I think it was like 2010. I was down in Knoxville, Tennessee, where he was playing college basketball at the time. At a football game, we went to Tennessee, Oregon. It was like when it was early in the year. It was like when Oregon was nationally ranked. I think they maybe either went to the championship game that year, or were just coming off of going to the championship game when they played maybe Auburn. So it was a really good Oregon team. Huge lightning and thunderstorm, like halfway through the right at the end of the first quarter. So they emptied the football arena, and so we were like looking for cover, and we went across the street into Thompson Bowling Arena where they play basketball. And so I'm with like a few of my buddies who played basketball, in the Albany area. Tobias Harris is from New York. And so they played each other in like late in like sectional finals and stuff like that. I think he went to like Half Hollow Hills or something in Long Island. My buddies went to CBA Albany, and we ran into him in the basketball arena while we were waiting out the rain delay. And one of my like friends was like, "Oh, you like, what's up, Tobias? Like, we're from CBA. We played you guys, so on and so forth." He just looked at us and he goes, "Fuck CBA," and walked away. That's it. That's the story. My only interaction ever with Tobias Harris, but there you guys go.
Wow. There you go.
That's it.
Actually,
not even a what's up. Not even a what's up.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. But the crowd's going crazy.
Okay.
Because Trig said 60 seconds, and I think that was the closest that Trig has ever been to 60 seconds. So that was well done, Trig. I'll give you that
And
much.
an F-bomb.
Let's talk real quick here. Boston and Baltimore, Trig. Let's get your thoughts on this. Best bets are coming up right after that. Trig's got a best bet in San Francisco, Atlanta, and Tokyo Brandon going to talk my Phils against the Washington Nationals. But Boston and Baltimore, it looks like Pavetta and Eflin. So this is the matchup, Trig, of former Phillies pitchers. Now that I look at these two names, these are both guys who had some stints there with my Phils. So Red Sox, Orioles, I somehow find a way to talk about my Phillies in a game that has nothing to do with them. So what do we got here, Trig?
Man, I still am trying to find spots to bet against the Orioles. I was kind of looking through some numbers yesterday, and the Orioles, they're 2 games under 500 since June 13th, 26 and 28. A lot of people probably wouldn't get that off the top of your head because they're constantly, sort of trotted out here as this top option. We know they're a contender, but that's a considerable period of time to be playing sub 500 ball. And the reason is they just don't have the pitching. And that's really applies to both of these teams. So for this game, like I wanted to make a case for the Red Sox, but I don't really want to go against Eflin because I do think his underlying metrics are good. And they were good with the Rays earlier this year. So he's not the guy I really want to oppose in this Orioles rotation. But I lean the Red Sox and maybe even a little bit more of a lean to the over because both of these offenses are very good. And neither team has bullpen arms right now. It's a real struggle for both of these teams at the back end of the game. So, even if you get through the first couple innings and the starters are good, like the line here, the over 8.5 suggests that you've got a good pitching matchup on your hands. But I don't see either of these two teams just piecing together 3-4 bullpen innings against the other without giving up some damage. So I lean toward the over. Probably my strongest lean in this game is over. And then I would just take the plus money with the Red Sox just because I want to play against the Orioles right now. I think they're too overvalued.
Great breakdown there from my man Adam Trigger. Best bets are coming up here in just a moment. Make sure while you're hanging out with us, you hit that like button, you subscribe. If you're watching us on social, a follow goes a long way. And hop below in the comments and let us know what your best bet is. Tokyo Brandon wants to talk my Phils. Hey, TB, I will say that the players only meeting seemed to finally pay some dividends for the Phillies yesterday, shaking up the lineup as well. They win 9-5, so the Marlins scored exactly five. So what do we just go with the Nats and say they're going to score exactly 5, or was that just an anomaly that we saw there? Nats, Phils, Parker, and our guy Wheeler on the bump here. It's a price if you want to back the Phillies, though, well over 250. How are you looking to bet this one, Brandon?
I wasn't quite ready. I thought Adam was going to go on. Adam's been really concise today. I'm kind of caught off guard a little bit.
I'm impressed. I'll be honest with you. I'm very impressed.
Oh,
Trig has been Trig hears the bell in the back of his mind now.
Don't underestimate the fear that Kelly Stewart can strike into a human being.
This is very fair.
Yeah.
This is very fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Yeah.
I had her in my ear about tightening it up, so I'm really trying hard to use minimal words.
He's doing well. He's doing well. If you can catch TD off guard with the best bet, that's when you know that you're doing well, Trig.
On to the Phillies. So we got Mitchell Parker and Zach Wheeler, and basically this bet is completely based on starting pitching. And Zach Wheeler is a top 5 MLB pitcher. He's awesome. He's great. And he's everything you want in a pitcher. He goes long. He's got great stuff, not just great stuff, but he is good at tricking the batters, which is half of the battle. It's not just having good stuff, but it's how you use your tunnels, how you trick the batters. Like, in my opinion, Trevor Bauer is the best who's ever done that. He's the best at not just having good stuff, but using it against the batters in the mental game. It's a shame he's not in Major League Baseball, but he's in Mexican baseball too, and he's the best at it, period. He's better than Garrett Cole. But Zach Wheeler's good at it too. And Zach Wheeler had a bad start against the Yankees. A lot of guys feel pressure when they play the Yankees. Everyone's focus is on the game. That's his only bad start in how many starts are we looking at? Since June 28th, it's his only bad start. So he's going to have a good start. He goes long. He goes 6 inning, 8 inning, 7 inning, 6 inning, 5 inning. He goes long. Rarely does he stop at 5 innings. Great pitcher, excellent numbers. And against the Washington Nationals in his career, in 89 at bats against, he's only allowed 2 home runs with a 202 batting average and a 591 OPS. If you've heard me preach this before, I use 750 OPS as kind of a Mendoza. Anything over 750, the batters are getting to you. Anything under 750, you're getting the best of the batters. 591 is pretty amazing. So I do not expect the Washington Nationals to score a lot of runs in this game. Bullpen-wise, both teams have pretty sub-mediocre bullpens. I have the Phillies 16, where I have the Nationals 18, so out of 30 teams. But starting pitching is going to be where this is decided. Washington is crushing the ball a little better than the Phillies at the moment. My rankings are not recency biased. They're more kind of long-term mixed in with recent. So I have the Nationals hitting better than the Phillies. I have the Phillies ranked actually bottom 10 as far as hitting is concerned. But as we've seen in the last couple games, they're starting to come on, and I think they'll continue to come on. I don't want to bet an under in this game, but maybe the Nationals team total under. Maybe the Nationals first 5 team total under, but the best bet for the game here is going to be Phillies -1.5, because I think they're going to come out and just pretty much destroy the Nationals in this one. The Phillies are playing for something and the Nationals are not. And the Phillies have a stud on the mound who actually dominates this team, historically speaking. Nationals are going to have a very hard time scoring in this game, which means the Phillies bats heating up should be able to produce at least 4 to 5 runs and win this by more than 1.5 runs. That's my best bet for the game.
Laying the 1.5. Hey, I'm never going to be arguing with you over a pro Phillies play. Another way, yeah, exactly. You're looking at what, about like -135, around that, laying the 1.5. Another way you could potentially attack this, if you do think Wheeler's going to be dominating them and the bats get to them early, you could save yourself 10 cents, maybe not even worth it there, on Zach Wheeler to record the win. Some of the ways that I like to attack a big favorite, if you like that, Zach Wheeler to record the win is -125. So save yourself 10 cents on that one potentially. I get the stamp of approval from my man Tokyo Brandon. We love to see that. All right, we talked every game on the board except for one. So those of you keeping score at home know what we have coming up next. It is the Bravos and the Giants, and it's a best bet for my man Adam Trigger. We get in the 4-game sweep here for the Bravos, or we get a little punch back from the Giants. What say you, Trig?
Listen, Dan, before I get into the best bet breakdown, we're in the trust tree here, okay? I can't not play the Mariners, and I'm not going to hold out on you guys. So I'm making 2 best bets, both client plays in Major League Baseball this afternoon. It's the Mariners and the Giants. I'm posting the 2-pack because I'll get yelled at if I just give everything out for free. So if you're watching the show live, don't buy it, because I'm giving them both to you right now. But I got to put it up there. So when you see 2-pack, 2 4-percenters this afternoon, it's going to be Mariners and Giants, because I was going to come on and give you the Giants. It was going to be my only one, but I'm just sitting here and I know the Mariners are going to win today. I know I'll be kicking myself if I leave it off. You can get it still at like minus 125, minus 127 some places. So I had to add it. Not going to hold out on you guys. So Mariners first. Hopefully we're taking that money and putting it on the Giants right here. I really am like a glutton for punishment when it comes to some of these teams, specifically the Giants, who like every time I bet on them, they don't show up. They did it to me earlier in the week. 5% play on the Giants. They lose in extra innings. But I can't. The Braves are the most overrated team in Major League Baseball. I don't think it's close, and now it's even more the case after they've won the first 3 games of this series. I truly believe the Braves are like the Oakland A's with a half decent pitching staff. They're the same team. They don't hit at all for average. They really don't have a ton of traffic on the base paths ever, but they hit home runs. And in the Braves case, their pitching is better, so they're able to make these home runs stand up. 44 home runs for the Braves in their last 19 games. I mean, they don't, aside from that, they would have no offense without the long ball. And there's 2 issues to that today, Dan, that I'm going to explain right now. One, Jorge Soler left last night's game with a hamstring injury. He's probably out today. I'm not saying he's their whole offense by any means, but you take him out of the lineup and that overrated Braves lineup suddenly gets worse. He's probably going to be replaced with Kelenic, who is more of a bottom of the order guy than a even though he'll be batting leadoff today. The second issue is they're up against Logan Webb, who doesn't give up home runs. I mean, when Logan Webb is on, the ball is down. He's going to go 7 innings. He went 7 innings and gave up just 2 runs to the Braves earlier this year. And when he's cruising like he has been, you don't hit the ball out of the ballpark against him. In 157 innings already this year, he's only given up 7 home runs. And most of them came in the stretch where he was really struggling. Like, there was a post-game interview that started to make the rounds with Webb where he was just like, I suck. Like, I suck right now. I'm not happy about it. He was very vocal about, not being happy with his performance. He went back and tweaked a couple things. Last 3 starts, 0.87 ERA, 18 strikeouts. So I would say the tweaks probably worked because that interview was right before, those last 3 starts. Against the Braves in his career, 2.98 ERA in 7 career starts. And like I said, I already referenced the fact that he fired a gem against them just last month in Atlanta. Now, on the other side, the reason that this is a nice playable price still is, Max Fried still carries some weight with the name. But there's a couple of issues with him. One, he's been really bad since coming off of the IL. Maybe a little bit unlucky. I mean, he has 15 strikeouts and 8.1 innings pitched since returning, but he's given up 10 runs in those 2 starts. So, even if you get, an okay outing from Fried, I still think there's some advantages here for the Giants because they've been miserable against left-handed pitching, but that's when you're looking at the big picture, the whole season. And right now, their lineup features 2 guys that can do real damage against lefties. Heliot Ramos, who leads Major League Baseball in slugging percentage against left-handed pitching, and Tyler Fitzgerald, who's one of the hottest men on the planet right now, playing this game. And both right-handed bats, both, predominant bats versus a left-handed pitcher. So, I'm going to take my chances that Webb can outduel him here, especially with the fact that since Fried has come back, not everything clicking for him, and it's been pretty obvious. So I do think even the Giants' struggling offense, which can't seem to get a timely hit to save their lives, can do a little bit of damage today. If Logan Webb keeps the ball in the ballpark, no question in my mind, the Giants avoid the sweep. And I'm not willing to pick the wrong one here. You got the Mariners and the Giants, both in do or die spots. Both need to avoid a sweep today. I think they both do it. Hopefully, for our sake, at least one of them gets it done and we get a split. But Mariners, Giants, both in excellent spots today. And, this will be my best bet for the show, Giants money line.
Muted, Dan.
Dan's speechless. He's speechless right now.
That would help. Yeah. Well,
hold
I
on.
was just,
Can
I was
I do have a play for. Yeah, I do have a play
Your
for
mute
sale.
button's
It's an
too far
NFL.
away.
It's an NFL preseason. So go buy my NFL preseason play since I just gave everything I had for Thursday out.
NFL preseason action over at Trig's page. My mic works yet again, so all is right in the world. You can grab that, wt.buzz/AT. The best bet on the show gave out the Giants and the Braves. He also said, hey, take a look at Seattle as well. 2 client plays going your way. Tokyo Brandon laying it with the Phillies, a 1.5 against the Nats. Best of luck to you today. Big thanks to Tokyo Brandon. Big thanks to Adam Trigger. Big thanks to you in the chat. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. Hit that little bell if you haven't already. We would appreciate it. We will be back. Locked and Loaded Friday edition coming your way, but at just about 20 minutes from now, Wager Talk Today, live here on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel and social media channels. Ralph Michaels, Jesse Shule, and Dave Mason, the outlaw from betonline.ag. You can check him out coming up on Wager Talk Today alongside Steve Merril, a Prez Free Zone, and Teddy Covers. Best of luck to everyone. We'll see you next time. Until then, we'll chat with you next time. Horrible sign off here, boys. I'm rattled from turning off the microphone. We will see you on Friday. Thanks for tuning in.
The Tobias Harris story has him shook, boys and girls.